Hello, it's me, Peaches, and welcome to my channel. I'm very new to YouTube, so if you could please click like and subscribe so I know you like my content, that would be awesome.
I don't know what I'm doing!
So today we are going to be talking about functioning labels. Autism functioning labels have been used in the community by parents, professionals, and even those outside the community who don't know a whole lot about autism. Functioning labels like high or low functioning. Oftentimes, functioning labels are used as a means to separate verbal and nonverbal autistics, as well as dictate whether or not someone qualifies for certain types of care.
The problem with this is oftentimes high-functioning autistics, just because they can speak, are assumed to not need any type of support, while low-functioning autistics, because they cannot speak, they're assumed to not be able to do anything at all. This can make it really hard for autistics to have their voices heard and to be able to get the supports that they actually need. It really just makes things challenging, which is part of why many professionals and neuropsychologists have stopped diagnosing high or low functioning autism, and instead they use levels. Now, these are still functioning labels and still can cause a problem. These new levels are 1, 2, and 3. Level 1 autistics oftentimes can be in the same position as the high functioning autistic label. They are assumed to not need any supports at all, and it's all because they can speak, communicate, and appear to be neurotypical. Whereas level 3, oftentimes those autistics are nonverbal and they're assumed to not be able to accomplish or do anything. Level 2 autistics are kind of in the mid-range. They might be able to speak but have very noticeable challenges when it comes to communicating and appearing to be neurotypical. This makes it really hard to still be heard and still gives those same challenges of getting support and care. So what should we use instead? If these functioning labels don't work, what are the other options that we have? I first discovered the color wheel a while back on the Art of Autism website, and then I saw it all over pages like Facebook and Instagram. The comic goes over how most people view the spectrum to be this line of different shades of one color, when really the spectrum is an entire color wheel. There is no high or low, but rather different aspects of autism, and each person dips into all those different aspects, each autistic person, that is. And it shows this really beautifully done color wheel and all these different ideas. I will show screenshots of this on the screen so that you guys can see this, because it's a really interesting concept. And I think it could be used to kind of explain what types of supports an autistic might need. There's other ideas that are very similar to this, and I think that if we were to use these, it could be far more helpful, because then it is individualized, as I said before. It's better to remember that no autistic is exactly like the other, which is part of why these labels are so harmful. Just shoving us into 3 different boxes, or even only 2 different boxes, is not going to help in any way. It's just going to make more assumptions, further stigmatize, and make it even harder for those who don't fit in any of those boxes to find support. Oftentimes, it's more harmful than good to assume that someone can't achieve something or someone doesn't need supports just because they look like it or they seem like it. You know, it just doesn't work that way. There's even some autistics who can go from being considered low functioning to being considered high functioning, autistics like me. I spent a lot of my high school career nonverbal, and because of that, if I was diagnosed while I was in high school, I probably would have been considered low functioning. But as I got older and my mental health started to become more stable, I was able to speak again, and I'd be considered high functioning. However, I still have times where I go nonverbal. So where would I sit on the spectrum if we were still using these high or low functioning labels?
Something that these functioning labels almost always ignore is the fact that there are other traits to autism besides being nonverbal or very socially awkward. Um, there are traits that cause sensory processing problems, traits that make it so that you stim a lot and you have to find new stims because those stims are harmful. There's traits that make it so things can be very overwhelming and you melt down easily. There's some traits where understanding language, you can speak really well but have a hard time understanding what is being said or what even you're saying. These functioning labels don't take that into consideration, and all they look at is whether or not someone can speak or can't speak, and they put assumptions on top of that, assuming that someone who can't speak doesn't have their own thoughts or their own point of view or has the ability to understand what's being said in the room about them is totally wrong. And assuming that someone who can speak can understand or can take care of themselves 100% is also completely wrong. So yeah, don't use functioning labels anymore. The majority of the autistic community has reached out and said that functioning labels are bad. Even professionals have started to move away from the idea that functioning labels actually work. It's best to listen to the people that you want to advocate for, and autistic voices should matter on the subject of autism. Who knows more about autism than autistics? So please prove yourself to be a good ally and start to change the language that you use when referring to autistics. Hey guys, just wanted to thank you all for watching my video, and I'd like to let you know that I plan on making more in the future. Every Monday I plan on uploading a new video. Now, I'm very new to this, so they aren't going to be perfect. Maybe they'll repeat themselves a little because I'm still getting used to writing kind of like a free script where I'm not reading word for word and I'm just going off of like bullet points that I have. But yeah, thanks so much for watching this, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me.